Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's been a while since I've posted any content. Obviously, some things have changed in the Genesis world. I don't want to focus too much on those changes on this video. What I wanted to do was just spend a little bit of time reviewing Alpha edition of Genesis, especially now that some of the content from the new Genesis Battle of Champions website has been changed and moved around. And with the new ownership, some stuff might be kind of uncertain, and we may not be able to get access to some of the old people that were involved that would have had a little bit more of this information. And so I'm just going to quickly pop over onto their website, the new website right now. So here's kind of what you see when it comes to Alpha, the product list. We see the release of Alpha in 2017. Mentioning 30 first edition starter kits, 100 second edition starter kits, and 256 total booster packs. They then have the set breakdown and some generic information of what was included in those packs. And so I'm going to go over some of the detail that I have from previous research that I've done and want to just make sure that that's out there for everybody. So I do want to give a quick disclaimer. Obviously, any content I'm showing you in here is coming from the old Haunted Castle Gaming website, as well as discussions with Osid. And so just use this as a baseline. Please don't hold my word to this. I'm going based on information I've been given. And I just want to make sure that people are doing their own due diligence when they're purchasing or trading for any of these products. All right, what do we have? So the main thing we want to kind of go over first is actually just understanding the differences between alpha and beta cards for some people that are out there that may not be familiar. So what we see right here on the left is an alpha card. You usually see this scroll-like text box here, and the chi is in this scroll area. Whereas on the beta side, you see the chi at the top of the card and you don't see the scroll motif. And as well, you also see at the bottom corner, you'll see APH for alpha versus BET for beta. You've still got the card numbers, you've still got the rarity, and you've still got the copyrights. All right. So this is the most commonly and easy way to distinguish an alpha card, is to just look for the APH, and you've got the ribbon. Other than that, cards have the same art, some of the same characteristics. Just kind of highlighting that for you there. All right, so when we get into actual different types of alpha cards, we have three different ones. We've got pre-alpha, we've got alpha 2017, and we've got alpha 2018. And what's really important to understand around these guys is that you have different copyright dates, and you have some different set information. And I apologize, this pre-alpha image is pretty blurry here, but when we look at these in the bottom corners here, you see this one says JAE, presumably for Jalara, which is the world it's set in. This was actually used on the pre-alpha cards. And then when you get into the alpha editions, you would see still the APH for alpha. But in the bottom right corner, you have two different editions here. You have 2017, which is denoted by 2015 to 2017 copyright dates. And then you have alpha 2018, which has the 2015 to 2018 copyright dates. So this is important when you're talking with anybody about alpha cards. When they ask for 2017 or 2018, you have a good idea of what they mean and why. All right, so pre-alpha. What are pre-alpha cards? So pre-alpha cards, pre-alpha is just kind of the term they used for the playtesting and pre-production of alpha cards. We have no exact print run numbers given, and there's a potential that some of the cards may have multiple versions with slight variations. And these cards were likely in the hands of the early play testers, the developers, relatives or friends, or any astute players and collectors that may have discovered these over the years. So when we mention different variations, we're going to get to that obviously with the angels in the middle here. But first we have a pre-alpha tsunami. So you notice this has a 2015 copyright date here. And the art is kind of somewhat indicative of the final artwork used. It's got some similarities. I don't know who actually drew this one. It would be kind of interesting to find that out, but this is a pre-alpha card. So this would have been probably a playtesting one. And I was sent some of these images by somebody who's been in the Genesis world for a very long time. So really thankful that we got some of these to show you. Next, we have an Angel of Retribution. And this is actually a full art, textless, pre-alpha Angel of Retribution. I don't know how many of these there are. This is the only copy I've ever seen like this. So again, thank you to my source for giving me this to show you guys. And then we have the traditional pre-alpha Angel of Retribution. This would have been similar to the ones that were pulled in Origin's Kickstarter as the box toppers. There was 2 of them, I think, from the box toppers, as well as any others that are out there in the wild. And then we have an Essence Drain, just another one to kind of show you another pre-alpha card. And so these are all pre-alpha. It's important to note, some of these, they have the 2017 copyright date, but they were not found in the 2017 alpha sealed product. It wasn't until 2018 edition that they were printed in alpha. So these are kind of extremely rare. All right, so when we get into pre-alpha cards that we know of, so this is what was, given to us as members of the community via the Kickstarter Origins print. These were the pre-alpha cards they mentioned that were in the box toppers. So I've got them all up here so you can read through them all, but you've got essentially 2 or 3 of each of these cards. And down below here, you kind of see this was the rarity or distribution of the box toppers. And so, we have 1 in 73 boxes would contain a pre-alpha card. So there they are. I know some of them have been pulled, and we know who some of those people are that have them. Congrats on getting those. How rare are they? No one knows. We know that there was 3 angels in these Kickstarter box toppers, but how many more angels pre-alpha were there? No one knows. All right, so we're going to move on to 2017 alpha, and I just want to really, again, break this down to you. There's 2017, there's 2018. Some of the information I have on here that's in red is stuff that I was given by Osid 2+ years ago when I spoke with him. And the rest of the information is stuff that was on their websites. And what I've done is when you see the card quantities later, it's me doing deductions based on the distribution in the packs. So alpha 2017 was essentially test print runs, very small print run. There were several iterations as the new art was created and incorporated into this set. And so as a result, this set only had approximately 50 cards. And I know some people have asked me, what's the list of alpha 2017 cards? I don't have that. Somebody might have that. I'm hoping we can get that. But there were only 2 rares that were in that. And that was the Meteorite and the Guardian of Balance. And so you see the Meteorite there. That's actually the 2018 edition though. So we had 2 rares, and the distribution of these were printed in between October. We had 31 starter kits. So these starter kits contained only commons and uncommons, no rares, and they would have had the 2017 copyright date. So neither the Meteorite or the Guardian of Balance would have been in there. Then in November, we had booster packs printed. There was 11. This was the only wave of 2017 booster packs. So there wasn't even 90 cards in the set yet. This was a test print run of sorts. There's a rumor that there's one sealed pack of this that still remains. I would imagine that if anyone has it, that would be Ossid. So when we get into looking at Alpha 2017 and calculating how many cards and how many quantities of each there are, it's important to note there was 31 starter kits with 192 cards, no rares, 11 boosters, 18 cards, 1 rare per, 3 uncommons, 13 commons, 1 champion. The set composition, 2 rares, 24 uncommons, 42 commons, 8 starter, 4 aura. So if each booster contained 1, 3, 13, and 1, there's likely 0 to 1 of each rare. This, I believe, is actually incorrect. If there was only 2 rares, there's probably 5 of each of these if they were inserted into those packs. And the challenge is we don't know if the Guardian of Balance and the Meteorite were literally played, like there was a rare in every pack. I'm not sure I can trust this information, so take that with a grain of salt. There were no epic rares in 2017 either, so eventually, we move on to 2018 alpha, and this is where we're going to get a little bit better data to give you guys actual card numbers. So by April of 2018, they released the last wave of alpha. This contained the full 90 card set. So this included 4 epic rares, the Primordial Force, the Angel, the Demon Scrolls, and Purifying Waves. We had a few different ways that they distributed this product. So in January of 2018, we had 100 of the 2-player starter kits. These contained only commons and uncommons. We had in February the booster packs, quantity 50 of those, and this was from wave 1 of Alpha 2018. This contained 50 to 60 of the original 90 cards. So we still don't have the entire set being printed at this point. And then by April, they released 2 booster boxes. 2 booster boxes. No, 8 booster boxes. This is Alpha 2018 Edition 2. So this is essentially second wave of Alpha 2018. They released 8 boxes. And now at this point, they had 70 to 80 of the original 90 cards. And again, this is in red. This is coming from Ossid. By the way, each booster box contained 20 packs, not 24 for Alpha. So when we get later past that first, print 2 of Alpha 2018, we then had the full set booster boxes. This is where all 90 of the cards were printed. And we had 31 of those, and each box contained 20 booster packs. And then by July, Haunted Castle produced 30 of these alpha gift boxes. And these were complete alpha sets. These were in a gift box that were for early supporters of the game. All right, so I've got some images here just to show you guys some of the stuff I was talking about. So, the 2018 alpha 2-player starter set. I'd love for someone to get me a list of what was in that. If anybody's got one of these that's open, I know there's some people that have them, but they're sealed, just to understand the distribution of the cards in there. We've then got the 2018 alpha booster box. There were 8 of the wave 2 and 31 of the final wave of alpha 2018 printed. So in total, only 39 booster boxes were printed. And then we've got the gift set. So there was 30 of these, and this is actually a picture of the box that came in the back of the box. And then within that box, there was actually these life counter dials as well as the cards. So when we move on from there, these are probably some of the numbers some of you probably want to get a little bit more information on. We've got the calculations of the 2018 set. So we had 4 epic rares. We had those roughly 1 per 8 packs, 8 rares, 24 uncommons in the set, 42 commons, 8 starters or champion cards, 12 when you add in the alternate arts, and we had 4 aura cards. So again, we have the booster packs, 1 rare, 3 uncommon, 13 commons, and a champion. So based off all 830 booster packs only, so we had 50 boosters of wave 1, 160 boosters of wave 2, and 620 boosters of the full set. This is pure speculation. These numbers are going to be pure speculation based off the fact that the set evolved and some cards were not available, as you saw in the previous slides, until wave 2 and then the final wave. So when we get into these numbers, here's what it's kind of looking like. So epic rares, based on the 830 boosters, 1 and 8 with an epic rare would put this at about 25 to 26 copies of each epic rare, plus the 30 that would be in the gift sets. So that's a 55 to 56 approximate population. And the same thing with rares. If we go down, approximately 120 to 121. The uncommons, 133 to 134. This will likely go up a lot more when you add in the starter deck, which we don't know the quantities for each of those. And then the same thing with the commons. And then the actual starters, you know, we've got approximately 82 of each champion, plus whatever's in the starter kits. Now, I don't know the pull rates of the alt art champions, if they were equal to the regular champions or not. So we're not even diving into that, but suffice to say, if you've got any of these, they're pretty damn rare. I mean, there's not a lot that was printed. The community's small, so some people have several of them. If the game continues with the new ownership to grow, these are going to be really cool, really hard to get pieces in the future. So I kind of want to just go through for some people who maybe haven't seen what the cards look like, and just kind of show you what we're talking about when we talk about starters or champions. We have, the original 4 of Idris, Malik, Nubia, and Raha, and we've got the alt art, Arthur Tanga art, and then the Damian art for those 4. And then for the other 4 champions, they were just printed in the Damian art. We've got the aura. So one thing that's really cool with these aura, like, honestly, these are not used really. I think the intent was to use them playing the game, but very quickly people just reverted to dice or the apps. The art on this is phenomenal. And one of the things I really like to do is I'm going to try to show you this in a way that looks cool, but if you look at these, it's almost like an animation. And so, when we look at this, if we kind of do it, and I can do this fast enough, it's going to look pretty cool. Starts off this little globe of light. Boom, boom. I just think that looks really cool. If you have the cards, they're pretty good looking to look at. I think this actual art and the stylizing of the card, if they could have made it this simple, the entire card, the game would have looked so much better, but here we are. Anyways. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the commons now. And essentially, if you've seen all this stuff, you don't have to watch maybe the rest of the video, but I think it's really cool just to kind of show people that the breakdowns of what was actually in the sets. We have these Jalara or colorless cards that were universal. We had 2 of those, and then there's essentially 10 for each of the affiliations. Phage was not out yet, so we've got, 42 commons, and these are all the original arts for all these cards. Some of them would later not be reprinted or reprinted in a different art when they came out in J2 or Welcome to Jalara. Got some beautiful pieces here though. I mean, that Essence Drain, the Death's Companion, gorgeous. And then the rest of these commons here. Then when we get into the uncommons, very similar. There's only 24 of them, plus whatever was in the starter deck cards. We've got different quantities, so there's about 133 to 134 of each of these. Giant Scorpion was an uncommon at the time. There's the Holy Wall, which was not reprinted and is desirable. Rain of Arrows, not reprinted, desirable. Tsunami, not reprinted until Origins, very desirable. Almost a forced reprinting just based on how hard it was to get these cards for people. The original Cognitive Restriction art there. Then we get to the rares. The rares, approximately 120, 121 of each. So we had 8 rares. And so, you know, obviously the Bolt Shot, one of the most iconic used cards. This is the original art. A lot of people haven't even seen this or didn't know that there was a different piece of art. Baruch, another staple card. Dodge, never seen this card played. Don't know how it made it in the game. Don't know how it made it rare, but you know, there it is. Blink Shard, I believe they reprinted this card. Is it Backstep? I don't know. One of the new cards from Origins basically replaces this and is better. But it's just kind of cool to see some of these original. These are like, if you played Magic back in the day, these are like maybe the lace cards, the Death Lace and the Pure Lace and stuff. Cards, rares that you groaned about pulling, but it's still a rare from an early version of the game. So there will be some collectability, I imagine, as people eventually try to complete sets of this, hopefully. The original Chrono Walker, kind of cool picture. Doesn't really look like what I would picture a Chrono Walker to be, but it's cool. This Meteorite's gorgeous. The Vampiric Kiss, obviously gorgeous as well. So these were the original alpha rares. And then we're going to move on to the epic rares. So we had 4 of them. The Primordial Force, Angel of Retribution, again, one of the most iconic cards in the game. If not, this is probably the most iconic card in the game. The Demon Scrolls, which, you know, I haven't seen people play that, but it seems pretty powerful. It's just the 8G, I think, takes away from it. But and Purifying Wave, I personally love this card. I use it all the time in my Tashir deck. But here's the 4 that we had. And so, you know, when we kind of break this down and look at the overall alpha rarity, the known rarity, you know, we've got pre-alpha cards. 60 total official pre-alpha cards were given to us from Origins Kickstarter. We know there's more that are undocumented and are out there. We have 25 unique different cards that were pre-alpha documented, and 2 to 3 copies of each unique card. And this is the official Origins stuff. We know there's other stuff out there. I've shown you some of it. I've seen other stuff. We have no idea how much is out there. I don't know. People ask me. What I appreciate is people showing me when they have that, because then I can get a better understanding of different cards and what I know had pre-alpha cards. But, you know, if you've been to any of the Day of Beckoning or the championships, you would have seen Ossid's binder with a lot of these pre-alpha homemade cards and that sort of thing. From a collectability standpoint, I don't know if I personally would want anything besides the pre-alpha cards that were like printed and that I've seen. I don't want paper copies. It's too easy for anybody just to make something up and say it was a pre-alpha. I'm also from a mindset of I don't really care. Like, I don't really care for some of those early versions that are just sketches on a piece of paper. I like the pre-alpha even is a little bit of a stretch, but I really like to hone in on and focus the actual prints, because these were things that people had a chance to get if you were around. Pre-alpha, you know, unless you were in the know or working with the team, you didn't have a chance to get that. But alpha, you know, if you were there early on or you trade somebody who was there early on, you can get this stuff. And so when we moved to 2017 alpha, you know, I don't know how many Guardians of Balance and Meteorites there are. I have 0 to 1 written down here. There might be 4 or 5. I'm not really sure. And same with the uncommons and the commons. if you can get your hands on 2017 alpha stuff, it's probably coming from those starter kits for the most part. But where I think, if you're looking to get alpha and collect some of the early stuff, I think there's a little bit more data and information around 2018 alpha. Very, very small print run. Any of these numbers you see, 55, 120, 154, 286, 82, knock off 30 copies of each of these, because that's from the gift set. So outside of the gift set, there was very limited numbers to get. And a lot of the gift sets are probably sealed. Some people might have them open, but just bank on the fact that it's going to be very hard to build a set of alpha. And the people that have them, usually some of them have multiple copies of some of these. So it's going to be hard to get them, but it is really cool. And I love seeing this stuff. So that's that's pretty much what I wanted to kind of go over with alpha. I'm hoping to do this again with beta. I think beta is another set I want to work on next. It's not going to be as difficult to get more accurate print numbers. However, I don't know if people are still interested in this stuff or watching this stuff. So let me know if you can reach out on Discord, or I guess you can comment on the video if you want to. This stuff is really fascinating to me, and I want to keep as much documentation of this as I can, because with the new ownership, I think some of the original stuff might become more myth and legend. And if they can pull this off and turn the game around, and these cards are still legal playable, because as long as you're in sleeves, you can play them. I think there's still going to be a place. It's going to be a major flex for people playing alpha cards, or just for collectors to have them. And, it's good to look at this for nostalgia. I think that we really attach ourselves to early time periods in a game for something that we love. So thanks a lot, and I hope you guys have a good day.